From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Hello everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. Thank you so much for joining us here this Thursday afternoon. We've still got those cold mornings with areas of frost. Now, that will all depend on what those winds are doing though. We do expect though the next wind event to come here by Friday night and into Saturday. Gusts 30, even 40 miles per hour. That's what we're looking at here off and on winds, right? Because the wind's not that strong today. They'll start to pick back up, especially for Friday evening, Friday night. Valley highs today, yesterday we saw highs in the low to mid 70s in the valley. Now, not quite as warm. I'm expecting about 65 to 70 on average here, but yeah, many of us could get into that 70, even 71 degree range here again for today. And then Saturday, maybe a slight chance for snow for some of the higher elevations, but at this point, I wouldn't count on much, if anything. There's a look at your neighborhood forecast at a glance. Once again, pretty warm in the valley, 50s and 60s for most of the higher elevations and along the coast. That arc that arc in the ridge of high pressure, that is. You see the arc in the clouds right here? That's the ridge of high pressure. That's why it was so warm yesterday in the valley in particular. What you'll notice here is that that arc is starting to flatten out a bit. That's because we got colder air riding over that. Then eventually that'll shift to the south and give us colder temperatures. And the winds will return as well. Now, speaking of the winds, let's take a look at the forecast wind gusts for today. Not a problem. Winds are dying down. We're going to be looking at any winds that we've seen here over the last 24 hours to die down later this afternoon and tomorrow morning. Still not that much of an issue. Now you'll notice as we go into Friday afternoon though, the winds are picking back up. Friday night, Saturday morning, winds are even stronger. Now we're talking 25 over 30 miles per hour, a very good possibility even into Saturday afternoon, and this is most likely going to continue into your Sunday as well. Now, we've been talking about the potential for some snow in the mountains, and Futurecast, now our shorter range model, is now going to show that doesn't look very promising. All right, so here's what it looks like today. You've got, of course, the rest of the day, sunny skies, some high clouds filtering in tomorrow morning. It is showing a little bit of shower activity, but honestly, I don't think it's going to happen, and if it does, it'll be a sprinkle or two, and it'll be when most of you are asleep. There's tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We're going to start off with some high clouds. By the afternoon, the winds are dying down. The clouds are moving out, but the winds are actually picking up. Okay, so it's still dry through the day on Friday. Now, take a look at this. Here's midnight. So Friday night, early Saturday morning. I mean, look at that. I mean, come on. Come on, Mother Nature. You can do better than that. We just don't have the moisture, and that's why. It's a drier, colder system, so we're just not going to get much snow out of it. So parts of the Sierra, yes, seeing some snow out of this. Mainly on the east side of the Sierra, by the way. I mean, there you can see the ridge tops right here. Here's the west side of the mountains right here. You're not seeing as much. It's mainly on the east side. And maybe a light shower. Maybe a shower developing here for parts of the San Joaquin Valley. And then, of course, that'll pretty much just kind of shift southward and no longer really an issue. Or should I say, no longer a part of our forecast, and we're continuing with the dry conditions. So we talk about those temperatures. Remember I was saying that colder air kind of pulling down from the north. That's essentially what's happening. Much colder, especially in the mountains. This is when the winds are picking up. You saw that on Futurecast, right? This is what's responsible for those gusty winds. As that low pressure shifts down to the south, we still have high pressure to our northwest, low pressure to our south and east, still gusty winds, but that colder air begins to move out, and we've got the mild air moving in for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So again, let's take a look at that overall trend here, the pattern. There's the colder air. You see how we're just not seeing much snow with this system. It's a dry, cold storm system, and we're just not going to see much in the way of rain or snow. There's Saturday. Of course, we saw that on Futurecast earlier. That's all shifting to the south. Now again, this is a classic setup for gusty north winds. So we saw it on Saturday. We'll see it again on Sunday. High pressure northwest, low pressure southeast. The difference between the two is a classic setup for those northeast winds. Now, as we go into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that all begins to relax, and we're not seeing those winds. But what I've got my eyes on is this right here. Now, this is not necessarily going to bring us a lot of rainfall. Most likely, at this point, it looks like it'll break apart before really making its way over most of Northern California. But places like the coast, Trinity County, Western Siskiyou County may see a sprinkle or a light shower out of this by the time we get to the end of next week. But even though we're not expecting a lot of rainfall out of this, this may be the signs of change in our pattern to maybe allow for more storm systems to move in. Fingers crossed, nothing guaranteed, but certainly looking a little bit at that trend here with some of those long-range forecast models, seeing a hint of that, but nothing guaranteed yet. All right, so here's what we have for this afternoon. I'd say 65 to 70 on average. A little bit warmer in some spots, a little bit cooler in others, just depends on where you are. Temperatures mainly in the 50s for the higher elevations, low to mid 60s for Trinity County, mid 60s inland. And for the coast, we're looking at those temperatures somewhere around 60 degrees for that daytime high. Here's your 7-day outlook for the valley. Temperatures starting to slowly drop after your Thursday. And then, of course, we're in the mid-50s for Saturday. There's the windy conditions I put there for really the entire weekend. Maybe still some leftover winds, especially for the first half of the day on Monday, but they should subside as we go through the week. Now, again, cooler for this weekend, back up in the low 60s by early next week. And for the coast, inland, Trinity County, also windy conditions there over the weekend. We've got temperatures dropping a little bit over the weekend, especially for the inland and for Trinity County, but then warming back up for early next week, with the winds also beginning to die down as well. For Siskiyou, Modoc, and the Eastern Mountains, windy also for the weekend. What I've got here, though, for Susanville is that slight chance Saturday morning. Quite honestly, as we go into tomorrow, I may be taking that out. Because again, it just doesn't look very promising for any snow, as we saw in Futurecast, and then we do start to see those temperatures warm up slightly as we go into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That is your afternoon update. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back again this evening at 6 o'clock. Have a great afternoon.
At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.